Speaking of the crazy people, let's talk a little bit about the crazy people. As we know, things in 2020 did get a little crazy here in Portland, and there were some times when that seemed to really help to bring people to the streets and to be engaged. There were times when people got hurt because of the craziness, and community resources that especially the Black community relies on got messed up. And so, what lessons about de-escalation, as someone who's does a little bit of mediation work and kind of can speak to bringing the temperature down a little bit, what lessons were learned in those days about how to best de-escalate while still respecting the fact that these are very real issues? You know, we're not trying to change people's minds. We just want there to be less violence. And so, were there any experiences in 2020 that helped frame the way you think about de-escalation work now?
Thinking about, yeah. So, I mean, I'll just like this is a cliche, but like prevention and cure, start with prevention because like if you can identify who is going to be the actors who will, just be unhinged and not necessarily be with the flow of the group, with the flow of necessarily the protest, with the flow of the leadership, even in anarchist, whatever, there's leadership. Um, yeah, like identifying those people and making sure that you have an eye on them or that they're not able to be in the middle of or in an instigating position is honestly that's step one. Like you gotta know your crowd. And especially like if you want to be in these like protest circles because you're not going to get a registry, not going to get a list of names ever. You're not going to like get introduction to everybody and their background. You're just going to have to be present and be able to be aware, talk to the people who are in positions to either be high risk or who are connected to people who might be high risk, and pay attention to your surroundings and everybody who's there all the time. So that's step one. It's just like knowing and trying to keep an eye on who is anywhere at any given time. Because frankly, and I'm just, if you know for a fact that certain actors are going to constantly burn things or constantly like, instigate or start fights or whatever, and you still invite them to your movements and your actions, then that's you planning that basically to happen. So, as organizers, there is a little bit of responsibility and accountability in terms of, bad actors within the protest and keeping that sort of out of it. Um, in terms of de-escalation when things do happen, I usually, or at least I've been fortunate enough to not really have to, not really see a lot of escalatory things that go out of control within protests, even within, I mean, between like two counter opposing type people, especially, and that's why I'm just like sort of giving my experience with it because I don't know if I have a lot of experience with de-escalation as is. For me, I like to distract and move. So like if people are and especially just because usually it's in a protest sort of situation, so we're all out. People could be carrying weapons, people could be, there's no cops anywhere. Nobody's going to be calling the police, and even if they could, ambulances are not allowed in until the police clear the area. So it's like, if you're at a protest, you're not getting any support from the police or an ambulance, even if someone get hurt. That's like, so it's very important to be kind of aware of who would be causing problems, is what I'm basically saying. So yeah, like distract the person who is causing whoever is getting escalated, whoever is getting more animated. Um, Try to distract them, redirect them to something, and then just get them as far away from the group as possible as quickly as possible so that they don't necessarily instigate other people around them, so that people who are also in the area don't then try to figure out what's going on and then it just feeds into the situation. Just talk to them calmly, act normal, and move them. That's usually what I do. And then in terms of, yeah, talking to them individually after that, it's usually somebody else's thing. But
That,
priority safety, usually it's just redirect and move.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That seems very practical.